I know exactly where it is, to the footprint, where it happened. If I can, I'll avoid that exact spot.
It really has shaken him. You know, he said, I've come off a bike at 80 miles an hour and I've not felt as close to not being here as I felt then.
No, I've been with SKANSKA now about 18 years, and it's the first one I've come across regarding an issue with an object falling from height and striking somebody.
It was a shocking day. It was an eye-opener. It's something you don't really want to experience. It's more of an impact on the people that knew Pieman, I think, but to people who didn't really know the incident and didn't know Pieman are just going to hear about it and think, well, yeah, an accident happened there, but it won't happen to me. You have to make it an issue, otherwise people will just forget about it.
It's me. I'm involved instead of somebody else. When you watch these health and safety, a lot of them are actors, and you don't actually... You do relate to it, the incident, but not to the people itself.
Hits home a lot harder. You can watch it on the screen, but it's not real life. It's like chalk and cheese.
I think that because the project's been going for such a long time and it means so much to so many people, it's the crashing realisation that it can all be gone. Just like in a split second, everything can change. I think it's made me think more about what I say to people, because one of the things I thought, if he's put himself in a position of being somewhere he shouldn't have been, is there something I've said that's made him feel he should be trying harder to get something done, he should be doing more? You know, he went out to take a phone call. Well, he didn't go out to take a phone call to have a chat with his mate. He went out to take a phone call to progress the works. Have I given him the impression that he's just got to get on with it? And I never meant to, but have I done that because I haven't said what I believe is unspoken? It's really only about whether you all go home at the end of the day. And I worried about that, and I still worry about that.
My normal routine would be to come into the office about 20 past, 6:30, make a cup of tea, coffee, whatever, a bit of paperwork, and then music in my ears for approximately an hour. Leave the office about 7:30, walk up the road. Gate man would open the gate. I would enter 11 to 15, walk into the red box, fill out the task briefing book, ready for the lads to come on the site between 7:15 to 8 o'clock.
Pie is a man you can rely on. He'd be there before anybody else, and he'd be the last man away.
Yeah, because he's a friendly kind of guy, you know. A nickname like Pieman.
It's all to do with the fact that I think it's something to do with Wigan, where they're all pie munchers. Something along them lines.
Because he's the pastry assassin. He eats lots of pies.
I like to be one of the lads.
He knows how you've got to work safely, and he keeps an eye, make sure you do things like that.
I needed to move a piece of equipment out the way so I could start scaffolders building a loading bay. At the time when I first made the call, underneath, the ground level wasn't giving me much reception. So I took a few paces, tried it again, still no reception, and then I walked out from beneath the scaffolding, and that's when the accident happened. The object that hit me was a stillage, but it's not actually a stillage, it's a scaffold bracket. Me personally, I have never seen them before. I've never used them brackets before, what all the scaffolders. The scaffolders tell me they've been in operation a decade or more, but I've never, this is the first job I've actually seen them. I didn't see the lift, but yeah, that is a box standard routine lift. The tubes sit in the stillages, and the weight of them keeps them in place. And they're virtually self-supported. They go from end to end. They can only go out so far, and they've got 2 lugs. Per lift, usually 2 would be standard, 1 on either end of the tubes. So then it's just a case of putting how many you want in, or as high as the bracket will support. Once the lads have loaded it, whether it be scaffolders, have loaded the stillages, you would only need 1 man to sling that load. It was going up approximately 2 lifts, which would be up to the first floor, just above the first floor. But it was lifted high to go over the standard to lower it back down again. The stillage that holds the scaffold tubes in place had been caught on the upper standard He came loose from the load and fell down. As the bracket came down, it struck me on the side of the head, caught my right shoulder, and spun across, smashed the phone in my left arm and damaged my left hand.
But when I looked down, I could see his smashed phone on the floor, I could see him composing himself, and I realised there'd been an accident. I didn't realise quite the extent of it until I went down and, like I say, I was just fortunate. I looked down and didn't see a dead body on the floor.
I was working on the roof slab on the third, maybe the fourth floor, and a call over the radio, man down. I looked over the side and see Pi sitting down with people around him.
He was sitting in a chair and he wasn't himself, I could see he was shocked, he was hurt, and the atmosphere had completely changed down there. Everyone was kind of surrounding him, and it was a bit of a shock, really, to be honest.
Knew very little about it. I just remember something catching me on the head and then looking to my left and seeing the damaged phone. And that's when I realised something had happened.
Because it's someone you know on a personal level, you don't want to look over because you don't know how bad he's injured, if he's been killed or what.
He usually would have made a joke or a wisecrack about something like that, but he didn't. When I got down there, he hadn't, he didn't for a while after. You could tell. I think he realised he'd had a close call.
Apart from the one person who actually came over to me and asked me was I all right, and then helped me up and sat me on the chair, the other voices I never heard. It was just muffled. At this time, my head was absolutely throbbing. And when I was sat down, I was asked what I wanted to do. I told him to stop all operations. The lad did say, "Are you sure?" I said, "Yes, stop everything now." And that's when I started shaking a bit.
We were on holiday at my mother's and I got a phone call. The boys are pretty good, to be fair, when they call now, because if they're going to call me and tell me that something's happened, they will start with everyone's all right. This time they started with, everyone's okay, kind of. If you get in a kind of, you think, okay, what's happening here? This is a bit more than normal. So you get that horrible, heart-stopping, sinking stomach feeling. I think it had two connotations. One is he's a supervisor, so he thought, blimey, how's he managed to get himself in a position to have something fall on him? But also he's Pi, and I just thought, we can't have hurt Pieman, we really can't.
You don't want to see anyone get hurt, but when it's someone you can, someone you really know and someone every day you have a laugh with, it is a shock. I felt more relieved than anything that he was okay.
I think speaking to my mum as well, because I think my mum was thinking, why is she taking all these phone calls? She's supposed to be here, she's supposed to be with me. And I do remember saying to her, I said, well, if the last bit hadn't ended up the way it did, then I would be getting on a plane and I probably would be getting arrested at the other end. And then she was fine.
We get told to come down because they deal it as a crime scene, because they've got to make sure it was an accident as opposed to somebody doing something they shouldn't be.
We stopped lifting operations across the site because you couldn't tell enough about the accident to start off with to tell whether it was something that was a one-off or something that we're doing all the time. And it's not worth taking the risk.
I think it's definitely heightened the awareness issue on the side of things regarding things at height, working at height. It's definitely brought it to the forefront of everybody's attention.
It's not like Pieman. Pieman's a kind of bouncy kind of person, you wouldn't, but he was different in himself. You could see straight away. And the realisation kind of hit him when you see his eyes and you see him, that he was shocked. It was a close call.
It's the first time I actually held the helmet since the accident. Obviously, it's a reminder. You realise that the heart has done its job once your hair that's had an injury, you get a new one. So that gets changed.
I think it most got to me when I saw Pi. I went down to find him as soon as I thought he'd be in when I got back on the Monday. I went to find him and he was just pottering around making tea.
I've still had a thumping headache. My phone, I was more worried about that. My hand was cut, but they just sorted that out, and my shoulder was bruised a bit, so I couldn't move my arm freely for a few days.
I said, I'm so glad to see you. Because that's how I felt, you know. He's up and he's walking around and he's there in front of me and everything's normal.
Susan. She was the most emotional, without a doubt.
That's just what I felt. I'm really glad to see you here, walking around, everything's normal. Because the hole it would have left to have something else would have been, like, it's unimaginable.
It's a relief to see him back on site, whereas that might have been taken away from us through no fault of his own.
I think I think he was angry with himself. When I spoke to him, the way he came across it was he was angry with himself.
It's probably the worst thing that's ever happened to me, really. I've been fortunate in this industry for nearly 30 years. I'm relatively unscathed. But I've never really had a shock.
So came back on Monday. We went through the various reporting things. We had a trial set up for the Tuesday morning so we could do the same lift and explain to all the banksmen and all the people that would be involved in it what it should have looked like, how it should be done. And seeing the attention people were paying and how they were looking, because you know, you've almost got your prop. Here's Pyman. Aren't we glad he's here? Now please pay attention.
Well, you certainly look at things different now. I'm more conscious of what's going on around me on the site. Although I was before, but you seem to be more so now.
I mean, SKANSKA drill that into every member of the workforce that they would like to see a target of zero accidents and zero harm.
You know, looking out for people is so important. You know, someone could have just stuck their hand up and said, you know, shouted, "Oi, you know, get back, don't stand there." But Pi's a supervisor, perhaps they didn't feel they ought to.
You know, there's more than just your area of work. There's lots of things going on, lifts, plant movement, people below you, people above you. And sometimes you get stuck in your own little bubble and forget.
Whether it was Pi or any of my other colleagues on that site there, I didn't think any of them walk and end up getting a potential injury like that.
The effect on everyone down the line, I think it would take the edge off everyone, you know, all of the years of effort and blood, sweat and tears that have gone into a project like this. We've got a pretty cool job, you know, it's fun. We work with good people and we build, you know, impressive and intricate and technical structures and we solve problems. If that last thing had lined up, then no one's going to remember the bridge or the roof or the traders. The only thing they're going to remember is Pyman. And it would change your life forever.
Well, you can look back at it now and say you were very fortunate, very lucky. At the time, you don't think like that at all. But now, obviously, you can.
So yeah, that day made me realise that, you know, you're only a few seconds away from being hurt if you're not careful.
It's something I've always done. I was always taught never to look up, and it's a good job I didn't. Because if I'd have looked up, the heart wouldn't have done its job.
What if Pi had died? To be honest with you, I don't know if I could have carried on the particular job we was on, because ultimately we all come to work and we should go home every night.
It could have quite easily been a different scenario. We could have been going to somebody's funeral.
I think he's used his life up.
show still goes on, and I'm just glad I'm still here to witness it.